What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back. I thought I'd be doing this stream maybe tomorrow or Saturday, but they got the news out at 6 p.m. this evening. So here we are now. Before I get into it today, please hit a like on the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed, drop your comments below. I have done two other videos already this week. I've done the preview for the Palace game, so if you haven't seen that, go back and watch that, and also about Javi Gracia too. So this will be three videos before the Leeds Palace game that you can watch before that game. So there you go. There's your content for you. Um, this one is in regards to Jack Harrison. It was on the grapevine today in regards to him signing the contract. There was just a few, crossing the T's and dotting the I's, got it right that time. And now he signed a new contract. I don't know if the length of it will surprise anybody. Pause. But it's quite a lengthy deal, which is quite surprising. I wasn't expecting it to be as long as it is, but there's reasons behind that quite clearly. Yeah, Danny, hello again, KG. Yeah, hello again, Danny. Hello to everyone that's rejoining live, and obviously if you're watching the replay too. Um Let's have a look. Let's have a look. What's everyone saying? Yeah, AFV twice in one day. I know. Keep on going. I really thought this was going to be tomorrow, but fair dues. Fair dues. Sam here saying, is it only me that's still unsure? He goes through patches. He's just on the good patch right now. And this is the hard thing about doing the video now. But it's done the way it's supposed to. This is PR 101. It was the same with Luke Ayling after his two games against Man United where he performed okay. And it was time then to bring out the 1 year extension because you know what Leeds United fans are like. When someone's playing well, they've got to stay forever. And right now, Jack Harrison is in a rich vein of form. This is the Jack Harrison that I believe his talent level should be at on a more consistent basis. And I'm afraid that word consistent is going to be said quite a lot in this video. But this is what they do. He's had a brilliant time under Javi Gracia so far. It's been really good. And it was always going to be announced. I said after the Forest game, didn't I? If you watch that match reaction, I said some point this week the new contract will be announced. It's just PR 101. When you've worked in companies and big corporations before, you know the drill kind of thing. So that's pretty funny. Gavin, Jack signs via Leicester's training ground. Tremendous. CB saying he has to be more consistent and not have a few good games and disappear. And this is why I want to get people involved on this one. I wanted to do it separate from the match reaction because views on Jack Harrison do differ. It depends what kind of period of form he's going in. When he's ice cold, like he's very close to useless. Let's be real. But when he's on the form that he's been in under Javi Gracia, the talent he could go anywhere, and that's been the most frustrating thing for me because that's why I put him in my most frustrating list because I know that he's capable of more. But we're coming up now. He's 26. This is his peak years. If he's ever going to iron out those inconsistencies or long runs of games where he's not doing anything, it's got to be now. It's got to be now. Matt O is saying definitely a PR move, 100%. Still a good signing though. A new player with Javi. The thing is, what I will say though is not to have the short term memory. Just try not to, because we have seen this before, and especially near the end of the season. This is when Jack comes alive, but we do need him to cut out having those big massive patches of doing nothing, and it does happen quite frequently. No one can argue that. There's times where he gets subbed off after half time because he's been that ineffective. Hopefully new contract. I mean, it's 5 years as well, people. How are you guys feeling about the 5 years? Let me know. Tony T in the house. Shout out to you. Oh, your Capitals missed the playoffs, Tony T. You know what? I can't laugh because my Penguins are very close as well, Tony. Very close. It's peak. Fingers crossed now he's got the contract he can kick on. I hope so too. Yeah, I know, Kay, double duty today. It don't stop. It don't stop. And shout out for joining me again. Liam is not convinced though. Should have cashed him in on the transfer window. And what I don't want though on this here, he will always be respectful on this community. It has to be. That's rule number one on here: is do not jump on people that think he should have been sold, because a lot of this is the thing I've got with Jack Harrison. I've said it on here before. The week before the Accrington game, people were happy to see Jack Harrison leave. He scored against Accrington, and all of a sudden, we need to keep Jack Harrison. This is what he does because he's that frustrating of a player when he's really, really off form. So please don't jump on people who say that he should have been sold, because I do understand that point. Um, CB saying a lot of players play well, get a new contract, then go off the boil. Yeah, that happens, but it's not that common. I think it's only if it depends on the personality. Jack to me, there's one thing that you can't say about Jack. He's always looking to improve. He's always looking to be the best player or athlete that he can be. That cannot be denied. It's just that sometimes the application, the quality, sometimes the confidence, which is another big C of what he's about. When it's low, it's just not there for him. All the crosses just seem to hit the first man. But when he's in his bag, like he has been over the past week or the past few games, that is what he's capable of. And I just hope that's all we can do. He's now here long term, barring anything else. And we'll talk about conditions of how he may move or whatever that may be. But he's here long term. 2028, he's here for 5 years, people. He's here for another 5 years. He's having a testimonial here. You know what I mean? That's a long deal. I expected it in truth to be maybe another 2 years, 3 years extension, but they've gone for the full five, which is pretty good. And Bandy here, yeah, under a longer contract means we can get more money on a sale. And not only that, that must mean that there are certain clauses in there for him. So if say another big team comes in for him and he wants to go, that maybe there's a minimum fee release clause there. There's possibly a relegation release clause as well to protect both him and the club, because he's always got interest in him. When you hear commentators, by the way, talk about Jack Harrison, they talk about him as if he is like a sensational all out winger. Like they act like, because they don't see him week in week out, when they talk about him, they see his numbers and they think this guy can go to the moon. So he's always going to get talked up in the media. He's English as well, which always helps. So he's got a good profile already. Now that 5 years just means that the 30 million that was hoping to get off Leicester 2030, that's no longer an issue now. You can possibly get more. You know what I mean? But at the same time, if we ascend the table, if we progress the way that we should as Leeds United going forward, with transfer windows going forward and stuff like that, he's here for the long term as well. So we don't have to worry about trying to renew his deal. So it's like a win-win for both. One thing as well I want to say is about relegation release clause, because and I've completely forgot at the time, but they said if a player's got a relegation release clause in their contract, it means that they're not that good. It's actually the opposite. It means that the club is the one that's questionable, not the player. The relegation release clauses are there to help protect the player if he wants to move on and not go down to the down a league, and it's also to help the club not take on big wages down the league as well. Relegation release clauses are only in players' contracts for teams that are not sure of their survival. Like if you was to sign for Arsenal tomorrow or Liverpool, you're not going to put a relegation release clause in your contract. There is always a chance it could get relegated, of course there is, but it's highly unlikely, isn't it? So it's all that protection is always to do with the club being at the club. And Tony T saying Harrison wants to play in the England squad, so he has a goal to aim for. My thing is with that, Tony T, I hear the goal, but for me, it's always about Leeds United first. Always about Leeds United first. And as long as he gets the job done with Leeds United, that's all you can ask for. And it's a big ask as well to get him where he plays. He's got Grealish there. He's got Rashford there. He's got Mason Mount sometimes plays out there. And now Mason Mount's reunited with his daddy. He's possibly going to be in form again. But there's a lot of competition. I think Jack Harrison should do the ultimate heel move and play for the USA, because I think he's eligible for the US. I think he should just play for them. Pull the heel move. And this is another point Kieran is just making here. Look, Llorente signed a new contract for what, 4 years, then sold within a couple of weeks. Contract length doesn't mean that much to me. Correct, Kieran. But there's also a thing here where it was reported that he seeked assurances. And I've got to believe that one of the assurances that he's not just going to get signed and then try to be resold in the summer. So I fully expect, barring PSG or someone coming in for Jack Harrison, that he will be here next season. And I think that's one of the assurances after the Leicester move failed, because he was talking about that in an article today about him being at Leicester ready to move and then being recalled. It was a real confusing time for him, as you can imagine. Just think about that. If you was in a regular job, you think you're going to another place and then you stay at your normal job. That is a big deal. So I completely understand that, and I can understand the assurances that he seeks as well, because it happened with Llorente. Probably, what was it, a month earlier? So you can understand with that as well. um Yeah, Matt Davis, 100% protecting our assets, and he is a valuable asset. No matter what you think, even if you don't rate Jack Harrison highly, he is a valuable asset because he's got media presence. He's got a large media contingency that love to talk him up. So he's always going to have that kind of value, but he's got to show it on a consistent basis now, Pete. I don't want to see quiet Jack Harrison again, because that's what happens with Jack, doesn't it? You see what happens with him at times. It can be 1, 2 games. If he's off the boil for those 2 games, it then stretches sometimes into double figures. That's unacceptable, especially where we're trying to go as Leeds United Football Club. But I think these are his peak years. If he's ever going to iron that stuff out now, it's right now. Um, Matt Davis is all saying we are stacked with great attacking players, and this is the thing as well. This isn't like we're short of options, and this is the thing for me. I don't know if he's a starter when everyone's fit, but that's the whole idea. You have to have a good squad. And if he's an option coming in when someone's resting or someone's injured, he's coming off the bench, sometimes rotating. I think it's a good option to have, isn't it? He's a good option to have on there. And also, as long as there's no favoritism where he just gets rolled out if he's out of form, he's going to have players on his back. There's going to be Sinistero. There's going to be Jorginho in time. There's going to be Nonto, Somerville. There's going to be a whole array of players there. The way we buy wingers, maybe we'll even sign another one in the summer. There's going to be players there that will make sure that he is on his game. He's going to have to be. This isn't like before when it was just him and Hilda Costa, man in the flanks with Ian Paveda and backup. There is now quality in there, so he has to keep the level of performance up. Uh, Okay, yeah. Liam saying here, look what happened to Bamford after new contract. It's concerning. For me, they're two completely different people, though, Liam. It's two different scenarios. I've never been convinced by Patrick Bamford long term. Never. I I just never been convinced by him. And as well, he doesn't put, I don't think anyway, we don't know because we don't see him every day, but I just don't think he puts the work in to be greater like Jack Harrison does. I think they're two completely different worth ethics. I do. Yeah, and that's me guessing. I don't know anything about that. But to me, Jack Harrison will look to kick on, in my opinion. I think he wants to reach that next level, whether that be European football with Leeds or elsewhere. I do think he wants to get there. I don't know what Bamford's on, but it was always a bad idea. But I remember people unsubscribing from this channel when I suggested that we should take the interest from Arsenal or Spurs when he was linked with a move after he got the goals. People didn't want to hear it, man. They thought that Bamford was going to be our 20 goal a season striker, but hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Jack saying Bamford's character is in question for me 100%, and that's something that I don't question with Jack Harrison. His character has never been in question for me. It's never been that, but it's the confidence thing for me. That's the thing that kills me because I'm not really big into confidence players, but I do see the talent ceiling that he has, as I've mentioned many times on many videos. Mr. Dodo, tremendous. Informed Harrison is top tier. Yep. When he's on a bad streak, he's god awful. Yes, that's true. There's no in between with him, but glad he signed a new contract anyway. Yeah. Yeah. Like when Ailing one was signed, I was like, yeah. As long as we get a new right back in the summer. I don't feel that way with this one. Because I do feel like there's another level for him to go, but he's got to reach it soon. He's already 26. The years are ticking on people. But yeah, I don't feel bad with this one. Because I do feel like as we go up the leagues and as we go up the league and possibly float with European places, that he is somebody that can help us get there. He's not one that I think is here for a relegation firefight. I think he's got more to his game than that, way more to his game. Uh, wow, Bamford on smoke. Even I'm starting to doubt Bamford. Gyökeres shouts for the summer, and that's Bamford on smoke. He's gonna have to change his name soon. That's tremendous. Um, let me just get some more notes here. I think I've said a lot of stuff here. Man, I'm a good talker. I'm a good talker. But yeah, in terms of the sign of the time of the signing, obviously he's in great form right now. But even this signing now, as it is in the form he's in, gets me excited. This it gets me excited for the future. It gets me excited for now because I believe now he'll be looking to kick on even more. But it's important that he himself knows that he has to do the work now. He has to make sure that he stays in the team. Because, like I say, I don't know for everyone else when you do your starting 11s if everyone's fit. He's not in my first 11, but he's a very good option to bring off the bench, in my opinion. Gavin here, I mean Bamford. Hey, what this talk about Bamford here? This is Jack Harrison's video, but I'll read it out anyway. Borough may go for Bamford if they come up. If they come up, I believe that they could. It's going to be something though, because what you have to factor as well with things like this, Gavin, is since the global shutdown, the championship isn't blessed with money anymore. You see now, teams used to take chances on Premier League cast-offs for like 10, 15 million. It's not happening anymore. They've really tightening the purse strings in the championship. So it's going to have to be a case if Michael Carrick can get Middlesbrough up, that could be an option for him. I just know that when we do the end of season thing of who should stay, who should go, Bamford is in my go thing. He can't be here anymore. It's gone on too long now. He's not a number 9 for Leeds United in the Premier League. He's putting them to shame. Like he embarrasses the shirt. Somebody in the comments last night was talking about Mark Viduka. You compare the two, you'd never believe that we're both playing in the Premier League. Never believe it. And that's the level that we need to get back in terms of a striker like that, like a Mark Viduka, people that can finish, the Robbie Keane types, not Patrick Bamford. I'm afraid that is not the bar that we should be setting in terms of strikers. Uh, Matt Davis here is saying Harrison doesn't get me licking my lips like Nanto or Sinistera. Yeah, that's not to say he isn't appreciated. Yeah, different players, Matt. Yeah, 100%. But it's good to have that kind of different player. He's not a saucer. He's not a saucer like Sinistera, where the ball just sticks to his feet. But he's a different kind of winger. He's more of that the workhorse winger. He'll get up and down the flank. He'll help out his defenders, and he will put in the low crosses. And I do like those crosses because that's how a lot of goals get scored in the Prem. It's just about having a striker that will get on the end of them. But yeah, he's a different option. So when that's not working, you bring him on. It's not bad, is it? It's not a bad substitute to have. And that is what it's about as well, people. It's about squad depth, quality in depth. And he does give you that when he's on song. When he's on song. I've brought up Viduka, people getting reminiscent. I don't mean to get people misty eyed, but that's what I'm trying to say, people. Got to raise the standard with Leeds United. I want to get back to that level. I was saying to the person in the comments yesterday, I want Leeds United to get back to that level one day. In order to do that, you have to up the talent in the squad, and he's just not it. Uh, Edward Bartel here, though, saying, I'm not a fan of Harrison, but his form has been on point for a couple of games. Leeds really need to move on from Bamford, go with a front two, Rodrigo and Ruter up top, platoon Harrison with others. Fair enough. Fair enough. Snore. Oh God. I'm gonna read it out, Snore, because you're not the only person that said this, but I'll read it out. Viduka was well lazy though. Bamford, a different type of number 9. Viduka could finish, but he was well lazy at times. The same criticism that used to get aimed at Jermaine Beckford. But you know what used to happen with Jermaine Beckford? And it doesn't matter if it was League One, his name would be on the score sheet almost every week. That's the most important thing for a striker. All this stuff about holding up and everything else like that, it's cool if you're really contributing like that. And I look at Olivier Giroud as the best at one of the best at doing that. Bamford's no Olivier Giroud, I'm afraid. You know what I mean? And we don't have an Mbappe and Griezmann to finish stuff off. So yeah, but Viduka, I mean, he wasn't. And I said it's funny you say that though, Snore. I said to the guy in the comments, could you imagine if Viduka was playing in this era now, where everyone wants the striker just to run around like a headless chicken for no reason? He gets slaughtered. He get absolutely slaughtered. Um, White Peacock Andy, who keeps on putting this up, and let me read it out. Andy, Jack Harrison has been second in goals and assists in the last 3 years at Leeds. Think about it. Yeah, I mean that's a decent stat, Andy. But I would also say that one of the years we was battling relegation, so I don't know if that stat really holds the weight that you think it may hold. If he was second in goals and assists at a team that's challenging for Europe, that's way more impressive than one that almost got relegated last season. But I do get your point. It's just that we know Andy, and I know you're a Jack Harrison fan. It comes in clusters, it comes in bunches, doesn't it? And when he goes cold, it's freezing. It's absolutely freezing. So that's just the thing that I'm not saying that Harrison has to do something every week. I'm not expecting a goal return or an assist every week. That's not what I'm saying. But it can't go on for near double figures. That's just unacceptable. Edward, why are you trying to make me cry? The Pens are in a tight scrap right now. Do you think they'll get into a wild card position in time for the playoffs? I don't think they've got it in them. I don't think they got it in them. And even if we do get in, I think we're going to get bounced in the first round. Did you see what the Devils did to us? We've got no speed. Got no speed. It's been poorly assembled by Hextall, and he needs to go in the summer. Uh, yeah, Lee's. We're going to give it Viduka a sending off here. Viduka was not lazy. He was class. Knew how to finish bad goals for fun. Absolutely. Big mark. Love that guy. Love that guy. That was what a striker. What a striker. But yeah, so yeah, people, give me your general thoughts in regards to the Harrison deal. 5 years. Let me know in the comments now, and obviously let me know in the comments after the video, please. Yeah, and Pat, I think I got sidetracked, didn't I? It happens, but that's what I'm saying as well. Championship clubs will not be able to afford Bamford's wages. It just won't. It would have to be a loan, and we subsidize a huge portion of the wages. And I don't know if Leeds United would want to do that. I'm afraid, but yeah, it's going to be tough to remove him, but they got to find a way. Have to. Um, Ben here asking, do you think Harrison will be like Bamford after signing a new contract? No, I don't. Different personalities, different worth ethics. No, I think he'll look to kick on. Whether he does or not, that's up to Jack. But I do think he will look to get to the next level. Mini plays is saying, I think he's worth every penny of his new deal. Yeah, yeah. We don't know wages, but it doesn't matter, does it? Who cares? Who's pocket watching another person? Yeah. The fact is, it is 5 years, and that's the main thing, isn't it? It's about the term more than wages. Uh, yeah, Mr. Dodo, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Bamford to City to replace Haaland when he comes to us. Yeah. So already said, people, Haaland 2032 at least, unless we get better before then. He's coming to Leeds at some point, man. It's gonna happen. It's got to happen. But yeah, that's it. That's it for me overall in terms of Jack Harrison's contract. But I just wanted to get everyone's thoughts and feelings on a separate video, just so I can check back in a few months and say, well, this is not what you said then. Just like how you guys do that to me. I want to do it to you too. So yeah, please put your comments in after as well. Um, Bandy here saying pillow feet, good work by our club. Yep. Yeah. And listen, I know it was a bit of a tumultuous time with him possibly going Leicester, but again, it's the board securing him for 5 years. So that's another tick for the board. I know the board get hammered a lot when things go wrong, but I think this is a good move overall. I think it's a really good move. 5 years secures everybody, gives everyone security. Um, And Glenn here, yeah, it's hard to forget how badly his form dropped after the August window shut. It is. I don't forget that though, Glenn, and I know a lot of people do. But I've also seen a lot of comments as well that have been saying pretty much the same thing in terms of your form's good now, Jack, but keep it up. You know what I mean? But obviously, there's always the other end that go, this is great. Jack is a great player. Let's sign him up for 5 years. This is great. He's one of the best players. There's always people that will go that way, even though his form would say, no, that's not true. But yeah, I haven't forgot that as well, Glenn. But that's why it's important that he keeps at this level of performance. Colin is saying, I think he was out of form under Jesse Marsh, but who wasn't? Maybe he just needs a good coach. But Colin, again, I say this again, he did this under Bielsa too. This isn't like a 2 year thing with Jack. This has been since he first joined. When he first came, he was very shy of confidence. I mean, if you thought he was shy of confidence now, try to remember his first season. Like he was really like shy, wasn't he? But this has happened through whether it's been Bielsa, Marsh. Obviously, that system was not working for him playing as a 10. It didn't really suit him overall, did it? But this has been constant under a couple of coaches, so it's unfair just to put it on Jesse Marsh to say he went out of form under Jesse, because at least Jesse had played him. But it also happened under Bielsa too. But I know a lot of people forget that kind of stuff. Snow saying 5 years ensure that we'll get a decent payout of him if we do sell him to the likes of Leicester in a season or two. I don't think Leicester is where he'd want to go next. I think it's going to be more of a case of if he keeps performing the way that he is now, that it's going to be like a European club, as in like maybe Newcastle, somewhere like that. Maybe Tottenham, even if they're still around those kind of areas, because they've had a long-standing interest in Jack, haven't they? So I think it's going to be more that. I think the whole Leicester thing was just that we was looking to get another player, and Jack was the odd man out. I think it was something as simple as that. But it didn't happen for whatever reason. Everything happens for a reason. I always say that, and he's still here, and he's here at this as we speak now, longer term. Uh, let's have a look. Matt here is saying Harrison is by far the hardest working player of the team. I think you mean run his socks off, right? He's been inconsistent, but which player hasn't been? I really think Marsh handcuffed him. Uh, ooh. I he's been inconsistent, but which player hasn't been? There's inconsistent, but then there's ice cold, Matt. And that's what happens to Jack. As someone said earlier, there is no in between with him. Whereas sometimes, as you say, an inconsistent player can have a bad game, maybe two, but then they'll come back again in the next one and give you something else there. Whereas him, he'll give you donuts in the column, goals, assists for about 10 games. It's really like it's an extreme scale with Jack Harrison. It really is. But like I say, 26 years old, peak years. Let's see if he can iron that out of his game. But yeah, listen, people, I'm going to leave it there. Like I say, this is the third video of the week since the Forest game. So if you haven't seen the Javi Gracia one, please go back and watch that one. Drop your comments on that one. If you haven't seen the Leeds Palace preview, and go back and watch that. That was just done a couple of hours ago. And obviously, if you're watching this near in the future, don't bother watching it because it's well out of date. And obviously, drop your comments on this one too. Hit the likes, subscribe. I've already got the match reaction video ready, so that will be done for after Palace, where hopefully we're celebrating 3 points. I will see you then, people. Peace out.